So we learned the last two sessions about three things that are important to have in mind before we start davening. There are three things we are trying to accomplish. Number one, that you have to have, if you're speaking to God, you have to be humble. You cannot demand, cannot force anything. You have to stand in front of the God, creator of the entire world. How can you stand in front of him without any other feeling except for humility? Anava, or hachna'ah. That's the first thing. If you don't have that, there's nothing to say. Nothing to say. Who are you? Who are I? Who are we? To say anything. Commander, the creator of the entire world, the universe. So the first thing is you have to be humble. That's the first thing.
Havdalah.
That's the second thing, Havdalah. Havdalah is you want also a separation. You don't want to have any connection to any negative forces. You want to be able to speak to Hashem without disturbances. And the last thing is that we're trying to accomplish is what we're going to talk about now is hamtakah. We want to sweeten the situation. We want to sweeten the din. Now, obviously, everyone is totally aware is that what we're going through, especially here in the last 9 months since the war, since October 7th, we're going through a very difficult period. This is called really Midas Hadin. I mean, it's no comparison to what went on in World War II. No comparison with 6 million Jews, unfortunately, Rahman al-Islam, Zecher Tzadik V'Kodesh Livracha, were eliminated. So we're nowhere near that number, but nevertheless, every loss is a big loss. It's not only for the family, it's for all of Am Yisrael. And there have been hundreds of our tzaddikim who are giving their lives to protect us. We're trying, we have to do everything we can to do what we call hamtakas hadin. We have to sweeten the din. It's very interesting that they use that term, hamtakas, to sweeten the din. Why don't you just say be mavatal the din? Mavatal, what do you mean? I'm sweeten the din. I mean, the din's going to be there, but it's sweetened. Why don't we just block it out? That's all. Erase it. No din at all.
Justice.
Huh?
Din is also justice.
Okay, fine. So it seems that it's a necessary ingredient for the world to function. And actually, you look at the first pasuk in the Torah, Bereshis bara Elohim es hashamayim ve'es haaretz. The word Elohim there is an expression of Midas Hadin. That's what keeps the world functioning. It's what we call laws of nature. Who put the laws of nature into effect to make things grow, to make things circle around, the revolution, in the world, the planets, or the solar system, everything is working by laws. These laws of nature are defined by a koach, or they are empowered by a koach. And that koach is called Elohim. That's the God of nature, Hateva. So we have to have Midas Hadin. You cannot be mavatal. You can't say Midas Hadin, but we can make sure, or we can try to make the Midas Hadin sweetened. We can lessen its effect. It shouldn't be so harsh. That's what we're trying to do. Hamtakas Hadin, to sweeten the din. Now that's the
with a sense of fairness. What's happening to us?
well, yeah. I mean, we're trying to lighten the burden, make it more palatable, make it able more to be, in let's call it in our lives, something that we can flow along with, and that's something which is so difficult. Why should a person have to die? Why should a person have to die? Why should a person have to get sick? These are things which are difficult for us to live with. We have to adjust and we have no choice. Hashem is not asking us, but we're asking Him to sweeten the din. So before a person starts to daven every single day, you have to have these three things in mind. You say to Hashem, I want these three things. I'm asking you, Hashem, that these three things should be implemented. First of all, myself, I'm standing in front of you in humility. No, that's the first thing.
Submission.
Submission, humility, submission, correct. Number two, I want to be separated. I don't want to be affected by all the negativity in the world. Havdalah, separation. Havdalah from all the kochos of Rav, from the Tumah. I don't want to have any connection to that. And I want everybody else also to be separated from it. And the third thing is, I want to sweeten the din.
So
Sweeten the din. Now, all my davening should have those three elements. So you should think that before you start davening in the morning. I want those three elements to be part of my entire davening. Shachris, Mincha, Ma'ariv. Yes.
So if we say sweetening, we're asking God to do something different from what He put on the table.
Well, the way He created the world, he left, as far as we're concerned, He left room for some flexibility. We, in a sense, have some ability to influence the situation. It can be a strong din, and without care about anything else, this is what's going to be, that's it. Or there's room for mercy. There's room for flexibility, to soften things. We have to have the din, because that's the way the world works. You cannot have a world without the din. That's the way Hashem created. Bereshis bor Elohim, Eis HaShamayim v'Haaretz. He created with the din. He put the laws of nature into effect. You have to have nature. But we can sweeten it. We can make it not so intense. We can make it so it doesn't have to. Because everything goes by din, by the way, the world would have been already erased a long time ago. You have to understand that. Because the laws of nature are that 1 and 1 is 2. But if you have something that's not 1, then you're not going to get a 2. That means if you vary from the laws that I put into the world, that they should be good in the world. When God created the world, He didn't create a world that should be a hefker. Do what you want, everything, just, blah, 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 whatever happens, happens. No. He created a world with a certain system, with a certain process, with a certain means, with a certain goals. And if you go against those, you're finished. That's it. You're not following the rules. We just wipe it off the blackboard. It's not here anymore. The world would have been destroyed a long time ago. We had to have the introduction of the midah of rachamim in the world. That made the world sustainable. If it would be only Bereshis bor Elohim, Eis HaShamayim v'Haaretz, the world would have long ago been destroyed.
It was.
Well, not completely. Well,
But haven't happened.
this is Torah. This is what taught. We only know anything by Torah. This is Torah. This is Torah. Later on, after the first pasuk of Bereshis, you have the word Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hashem, Elokim. The Yud Kei Vav Kei, what we call the ineffable name, that was added to Elohim. So Elohim is the midah of din, pure justice. No room for any variation. Hashem added rachamim to that, so that they can be something that is possible, that's more, flexible, more pliable. You have to have, human beings aren't by nature able to be perfect. Human beings are not able to be perfect. Because we're only humans. And human beings are not perfect. Who's the only perfection in the world is God Himself. Anything else other than God cannot be perfect. Because if it be perfect, then it could be God. And you can only have one God. So if God created something which is imperfect, You cannot have perfection running the world. You cannot have the Midah of Din running the world if you have the inhabitants of the world which are imperfect. There has to be room in the world to be run by also allowance for some imperfection. There must be that allowance. That's where the Midah of Rachamim came, and Yud Kei Vav Kei, and now the world is possible. But we have to make sure things don't get out of hand, and they already right now, so to speak, are out of hand. How many tzaddikim did we lose already here in this war? And how many tzaddikim did we lose in Europe in the Second World War? About 6 million people died. And how many tzaddikim died there? Hasidim and Admorim. We can't even imagine. What 6 million? Can't even imagine what that means. Can't imagine what it means. I was born before the end of the war. I was born in 1943. The war was still going on, but I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I was in America, protected. What do I know about it? But it didn't end until 45, I think, the World War. So we have to do everything we can to sweeten the din, to make it not so fierce, not so harsh. So I passed out a page now here. Now, let's go through it together. We'll do it together. This is written not by me. It's written by a great Kabbalist, a Sephardi Kabbalist, Rav Chaim Falaji. And he writes, take a look at the second column on the left side, a list of things which can be mamtik the din. Look at the third paragraph. It says, Ka'amor. Ka'amor, the third paragraph on top left side. Iker magamasenu, our main goal, our approach, lahamtik es hadinin, to sweeten the dinim. That things should not work by law, and if you break the law, it's finished. No, we have to have room for flexibility. The real war is going on in the spiritual realm. But here, we only now here, down below, experience the results of that war. The real war is going on in the spiritual world. L'to'elas haklal, for the benefit of mankind, nitzayen kan, we're going to list over here, biksara. In short, reshima shel pulot, a list of activities, shebekocham lahamtik asedina. So we have here 23 items, and we should try to accept and practice as much of these 23 as possible. We can write down notes, translation, whatever you want to write, but we're not learning this just for knowledge. We're learning this also to take into our hearts to try to practice them as much as possible. Okay, so the first one is
what how to sweeten the din. These 23.
These things will accomplish that. They can accomplish sweetening the din. The first one, obviously, is known clearly, tzedakah, nisinas tzedakah, to give to charity. Now, you have to understand, what is the psychology behind that? How does that work? Very simply, I take something of my own, and I give it to somebody who didn't earn it, who happens to be maybe in need, or there's some national or communal thing that has to be supported, and I'm taking from my hard-earned money. I put my sweat into, I put my mind into it, put my strength into it, and I got money for that. I did all kinds of things and I made money. So this money is now really a representation of what I put into it. All the things that I sacrificed to get that money. And I'm giving it away to somebody else who didn't earn it. That is what sweetens the din. I'm going against the din. The din is, what I did, I deserve. It belongs to me. To give it away to someone else who didn't earn it? Let them go work. Let them do what they have to do to get the money. I'm doing it. I'm considering them. I'm being flexible. I'm not being so strict and said it's all mine because I earned it and I put hard work into it. No, I'm giving away from my hard-earned money or my money, I'm giving it to somebody else who did nothing to earn it. Nothing. But I'm trying to help out somebody else who's in need. That is sweetening the din. I'm taking what is din and I'm converting it to something which sweetens the din. I'm giving it away to someone who didn't earn it, didn't work hard for it, didn't sweat for it, but they're in need. Okay? So I'm doing that to sweeten the din. The second thing is tzedakah. If you'll take a look at in the Chumash about the Golus of Klal Yisrael in Mitzrayim, they suffered for 210 years in Mitzrayim, and they were oppressed by slave labor and taskmasters, but they had no choice. What could they do? They didn't have ammunition. They were outnumbered. Everything was against them. But one thing they had that they could do, they could scream out to Hashem. That's the second thing. Tza'akah.
Was cry out mean?
Yes, that's to scream out to Hashem. And not to cry out, to scream. To scream out to Hashem. Of all the oppression, of all of the tzaras that we're going through. To scream out to Hashem. That these things, these first two, are available to everybody. This comes from a sefer called Moed Kol Chai, Rav Chaim Falaji, a great Sephardi Kabbalist, and he made a list of these things. You see, on the right side there, in the third column on the right side, you see the name of the sefer, Moed Kol Chai, Rav Chaim Falaji. He's the one who authored it. Number 3. Shinui Maisa. Now this is something which is very difficult for people to do. Why is it difficult to do? Because people are stuck. They're stuck. They don't change. They go one way, this is their routine, and that's it. In other words, by making a Shinui Maisa, you are changing, in a sense, nature. You're changing the laws of nature by changing your deeds. Now, of course, it doesn't mean to change for the worse. Obviously, it doesn't mean to change for the worse. That's also a change. It means to change for the better. Change for the better. I'll give you a little example of what I mean. This past Shabbos in shul, a person comes over to me and he says to me, "Rabbi, I have so much tsar for my children. 8 years I'm suffering for my children. 8 years. And I can't do anything about it. Nothing's moving. 8 years. They have no rachmanis on me and my wife. We're both suffering for 8 years." So I said to him, "Look, I don't know if you came to the right person, but I could tell you what the Baal Shem Tov says. And if you listen to the Baal Shem Tov, you have good backing. Maybe he'll, by Shemayim, be mispal for you that something should happen." Baal Shem Tov says that one of the things that happens to a person in his lifetime could be tsar yiladin. He has tsar from he has pain from his children. But how does that come about? What caused it? What caused it? We should know, he says. Let's go back to the first case in the world of parents who had tsar from their children.
Again?
The first case in the world. You have Cain and Hevel. The first children in the world were born from Adam and Chava. Hevel was a tzaddik, and Cain was a troublemaker. Why did that happen? The world just began. They didn't have bad friends on the outside. What happened? What happened? Why did Cain go off the road? What happened? The answer is very simple. Adam and Chava were created pure, with no affairs. They made a big mistake. They were pure, they were kosher, they were free of any negative influence in their creation. God created Adam and Chava perfectly, pure, clean. Adam and Chava sinned. They went against God's plan. He said to them, do not eat. I'll give you a whole world to eat from anything you want. One little tree. Don't eat from that tree. One little thing. And they messed it up. And they that tree had all of the evil in the world inside it. And they thought, they were convinced by the NACHLAOT, it's a good thing. All kinds of psychological arguments to use, get Adam and Chava to eat. So whatever it is. But so they didn't do it intentionally to do against rebelliousness against God. But they nevertheless did eat, and they internalized into themselves evil. Became internalized. When that became internalized, anything that comes out of them is going to have repercussions, it's going to have something of that evil in it. So what caused the original cause of Cain's affair, of his going off the track? What was it? It was not Cain himself. It was Adam and Chava. The parents are guilty because the children sinned to some degree. Had they not internalized that Eitz Hadas into themselves, that source of evil, the children would have come out pure like they were pure. But since he internalized inside himself, that becomes part of his being. And part of your being goes into your seed. And in your seed there is an element, whether it's a spiritual element or a physical element, whatever you want to call it, in the genes, in the chromosome, whatever you want to say, that goes over to your offspring. So the Baal Shem Tov says you should know that if a person has tsa'ar from his children, the person himself has to do tshuva, not the child. The person himself who caused those children to go that way because he has some kind of evil in him. And that goes over into the genes, and they also inherit it. So that is one of the ways that a person can remove the evil of his children by he himself doing tshuva. So I said to this person on Shabbos, he came over to me yesterday. I said to him, look, I know who you are. You're a religious person. You go to Davening 3 times a day with a minyan. You learn Torah and everything that. But don't tell me there's no room for improvement. Nobody's perfect. You go over your entire life, how you live from morning to night, and you'll find things that you can improve on. This is what the Baal Shem Tov says. You go back to the original. Remember, we're talking about like Adam and Chava. They did something which caused their children to go off. So you must have done something also that is not 100% kosher. You got to work on it to make it 100% kosher. And then the mela, it'll trickle down, and the children themselves will be reawakened, and they'll come back.
How did he receive that?
He accepted it. What I see, he's a good person. He davens, he learns, but I know what's going on in his private life every single day. I said, you've got to think of things. There are things that you can make improvements on, even if it's something slight. Something slight. It doesn't have to be a major thing. I'm not saying that you steal or you kill people, but something that you can work on that you think that you could be better in. Be better in it. You never know what that could do for your children. Be better in it. So this is what he's talking about over here when he says, Shinui Maisa. This is the third number on the list. You got to change your deeds. You say, well, I'm fine. You're fine, but could you be better? Is there room for improvement? If there is room for improvement, make that change. Shinui Maisa. This sweetens the din. Sweetens the din. Okay, number 4, and that's obvious. Tefillah ba'ad hashmuyim. To pray for the captives, that they should get free. Person doesn't pray for it, so obviously something wrong with it. Okay, that's easy. Number 4, Dalet. Here's another thing which is very interesting. Tefillah b'mikveh mitoch machsheves tshuva. Now let me explain to you a little bit about this. We're quite familiar what a mikveh is. A mikveh is a body of water that has a certain minimum size to it. It's called in Lashon HaKodesh, Arboim Sa al Arboim Sa. Or you use a natural body of water like a river, a lake, a natural lake, or the ocean. It's also a kosher mikvah. But the point is, the mikvah has a spiritual koach to it. There's a spiritual koach to it. And there's a big difference between before a person goes into the mikvah and when he comes out of the mikvah. Let me just give you a little bit of an example. It's too bad that we don't have a blackboard here. We should have. You have to speak to Rabbi Goldberg. There's got to be here a blackboard where you can write on. It's very important.
They have a whiteboard. They have an easel in the back.
Oh.
I'm talking with them about it.
Yeah, I should put it
Since
here.
we came here.
Yeah.
We have the.
Okay. Anyway.
So you need to put some pressure on them.
All right. All right. Let me explain to you one thing. Everything in the world is designed according to the Kabbalah, according to the 10 spheros. Everything has a sphere, a specific sphere that it belongs to, that it has an association with. Where does a mikveh fit in? Where does a mikveh fit in? So you have like this. We have 10 spheros. The top 3 are Keser, Chochma, and Bina. Top 3. Keser, Chochma, Bina. Then you have, they are like the brains of everything. Then you have the lower 7 ones. The lower 7 is why we have 7 days in a week. So we have 7 days, seven Shemitah, 7 years in Shemitah. The whole idea of 7 comes from the 7 lower spheros. The 7 lower spheros, they are the ones that power the world in more of a direct way. The top 3 are like the brains of everything. The top 3, the Keser Chochma as the brains, then I got directly into the world. They're the top 3. Now,
That's intellect.
huh?
That represents intellect.
That's where intellect is. Yes, of course. That's in Chochma and Bina. Now, it's very interesting that the union of tshuva, where does tshuva fit in? Where would you put that into the sphere? Which sphere would tshuva fit into? Tshuva. Well, I'm giving you already information that I have already for a long time. I wouldn't expect you to know it necessarily. But tshuva fits into the top 3. Tshuva fits in top 3. It fits into the sphere of Bina. That's where tshuva fits into. In other words, the person does tshuva, so he goes above the 7 lower ones. He goes into the top 3, into the, let's call it the brains of everything, and he activates the energies there, and they come down and they supersede the 7 ones on the bottom. So when a person goes into the mikveh, he's connecting, if he does tshuva, where has he doing tshuva? While he's in the water underneath, he has a machshava of tshuva. He then activates the top 3, and they come down and they superimpose themselves on the 7 lower, and they clean the slate. They clean the slate. They remove all kinds of impurities, all kinds of negativity is removed when you bring down from the brains up on top. So that's what he says over here. Look at it, look at again, number 1. Hey, Tvila b'mikveh mitoch machsheves tshuva. I used to have a Rebbe who used to tell me, if you go to the mikveh and you don't have a machshava of tshuva, it's like going to the mikveh, you're holding a dead rat. You accomplish nothing. The dead rat is tameh. You go into the mikveh holding a dead rat, and you go in 1,000 times, you'll be dunking 1,000 times. As long as you're holding on to the dead rat, you didn't do anything. So you have to have the machshava of tshuva to get rid of that dead rat and make the mikveh be effective. When you go into the mikveh with a machshava of tshuva, that's the basic minimum. And that is what's mamtik the din. That sweetens the din. A machshava of tshuva. Yeah.
What's the minimum that one should do every month?
What do you mean?
I mean, some people do it every day.
Yes, of course. I go every day also.
But if you're not like that type of person, what's the...
So as much as you can. Try to fit in. Try to make a schedule where you can go as much as you can. It's me, you should go. For surely you should go before Shabbos. So Shabbos is, a Yom Kadosh. So you want to be yourself. You want to be Tahor. You want to be ready to receive all the benefits of the Kedusha of Shabbos. So if you're purified and you do tshuva beforehand, then you're going to appreciate or get the maximum benefit of Shabbos that you can. Some people go Monday and Thursday and Friday, Monday and Thursday because it's Kriyas HaTorah. Some people go every day. Like I go every day. I mean, it's right here, 5 minutes away. Why shouldn't I go every day? It's very simple. I'm so thankful to have the mikvah 2 minutes away, a 2 minute walk from here. So it's it's very simple. But it's a davar chosh. We're talking about now Am Yisrael. Don't forget, we're talking about people who are on the front lines, our brothers, our sisters, our relatives. They're fighting with their lives, and the soldiers dying all the time. We have to sweeten the din in the world. It's not only for Am Yisrael, but especially for Am Yisrael. And this is one of the things that does it. So why shouldn't we do it? So it's a little bit of a change in our routine. Until now, I wasn't an mikvah goer. But if I can prevent a soldier from getting shot at, or getting wounded, or whatever, save his life, by doing a little act like that, I shouldn't do it. I can't understand that. How could I not do it?
So before one actually, yes, close off before one goes into mikvah, he should have that in mind.
In the mind, and when you're under the water also for a second, have the machshava of tshuva that you want to reconnect to Hashem as much as you can. You want to reconnect to Hashem. Before you walk in, before you go in, and while you're under the water. While you're under the water, if you want to add other tefillos to Hashem, other machshavas, that's the best time. The best time. While you're under the water, before you come up, after you have the machshava of tshuva, you could put in your mind other requests also, which you have for Hashem.
Before, during, and
After you come out, it's
before and during.
Before and during, yeah. Huh? All right, that's too much already. Tefasta more below tefasta. You know it? All right, keep it. That's good. Fine. Okay. Number 6. His kaskrut b'bitachon b'Hashem Yisbarach. It's very, very important to show reliance on Hashem, and do not think that you have the koach to do anything. If you don't have the bitachon, the word bitachon comes from the word batuach, or betach. It means you have a certain secure feeling. Hashem can do it. As we say every single day in davening, Baruch hagever asher yiftach b'Hashem. Blessed is the person that has faith, has reliance on Hashem. And what is going to be the result of that? Hashem iftacho. The more faith, the more reliance you have on Hashem, and not yourself, the more Hashem will react and go according to the bitachon that you had in Him. He'll give you back according to that level.
That's bitachon or emunah? What is this?
No, not emunah. Bitachon means reliance. Emunah means belief.
So this is bitachon.
Yes, bitachon means reliance, and emunah means belief.
Right.
Reliance. The word betach, to be sure, correct. Okay, number Zion. Amiras Mizmor Lamates Ayin Zayin B'Tehillim B'Kavon.
Mizmor Leditun. What does exactly mean Leditun?
Excuse me?
Leditun. Mizmor Leditun.
Lidutun. Lidutun. I'm not sure. Why should I give you an answer? I'm not sure. I have to check. To see what the word means. I'm not sure. Okay. Ches. Lima Torah Lishma. Now here's a hard one. This is very hard. The other ones are easy compared to this.
Are we on 7?
We just finished 7.
Hold it.
We're up to 8.
I thought 6 was bitachon.
Yes.
That's 6.
6 is bitachon, right?
Right.
7 is Mizmor.
2 chapters of Tehillim. Lamed Tes and Ayin Zayin.
Oh, so 7 is those 2 psalms, right? Okay.
Right. Try to say them every single day. There's 2 kapitals of Tehillim. It's not so hard.
Specifically in those 2 or any?
Those two. You want to add more? Add more. That's fine.
39.
39 and 77.
What's so special about that?
You look at the translation, you'll see.
Okay.
Look at the translation, you'll see. Now here, number 8 is a hard one. Very, very hard. Limud Torah Lishma. Now I'm going to ask everybody to make a very honest assessment about this one. Niri Torah Lishma means that you learn Torah for the sake of learning Torah, because Hashem commanded to do so. Now, if you look at the world, about the Torah, it's being learned all over the world. I don't want to say something negative, but I would say that a large majority of the people who learn Torah because they feel they're really getting something from it. It makes me a better person. I know, what the laws are now. It's very, very stimulating. Torah is learning Gemara, you're learning Kabbalah. That's really, really, adjusts itself to the person's mental abilities. It's very enjoyable to learn Torah. All of those things are fine and good. It's not an avera to learn Torah when you have those feelings. It's not an avera. But I must tell you, Rabbi Sai, it's not Torah Lishma. Lishma means that yourself, and I are not in the picture. When you learn Torah Lishma, you're not learning it for yourself at all. You never think about yourself. You're thinking about, I'm doing it for you, Hashem. You gave us the mitzvah. I'm doing it totally to make you happy, Hashem, not for my own personal benefits. Now, most people need that. In order to get them to learn Torah, they have to feel that they are really benefiting by it. That's not wrong, but it's not 100% right either. It's not the highest level. We are not supposed to do not only Torah, even mitzvahs, for personal gain of any kind. That is a lower level. The Gemara tells us, I'll accept it. Mitoch shelo lishma balishma. That's your first step. You're doing it because you feel you're really gaining. You're a better person. But once you get to that level, you've got to go higher. You can't stay there. You've got to get to the person where you are out of the picture. I'm doing it only because of you, Hashem. I'm not thinking about my personal benefit at all. I'm doing it only for you, for Hashem, for Tikkun Olam. So the world should be a better place, but not for myself. This is a very high level.
Tikkun Olam is already not Lishma.
Well, it's closer to the Shema. It's not for me. It's not for me. Most people need some kind of a personal benefit to pull them in. What am I gaining from it? What do I need it for? What do I need it for? So you say, well, you become a more intelligent person, become a higher quality, you get better midos, all kinds of benefits you can think of. It's kedai to learn. You're not going to be like all the animals in the street. You'll be on a higher level. You feel good about that. That's good. It's wonderful. But that can't be the end. That can't be the end. Once you get to that point and you're already there, you've got to go higher. You've got to go higher. You have to remove yourself. You're doing it only for Hashem. Only for Hashem. One of the things that Hashem wants is Tikkun Olam. Learning Torah, it makes a Tikkun Olam. The world has impurities, has imperfections. Learning Torah helps to perfect that. But the point is, it's not for personal benefit. You have to remember, it is a very, very high level, and it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. But the Baal Shem Tov and the and Chazal and the Gemara accept it as a way of a beginning. And they say, Mitoch shelo lishma, you're doing it not lishma to begin with, you're doing it for some personal gain. Hashem accepts that because we're not perfect to begin with. But after you get to a certain level, you have to realize there's something higher. There's something higher. You have to take the personal gain out of it. Out of it. You're doing it only for Hashem. Only for Hashem. Hashem kiddushonu mitzvot v'tzivanu. He sanctified us. He commanded us. Because of His command, I'm doing it. I don't have to ask anything more. Hashem, I totally reliant on Hashem. He knows better what's going on in the world, how to run the world than I do. And He said we should learn Torah. Like He said, all the other mitzvos, the 613 mitzvot, this is one of them. He knows what He's doing. He told us to learn Torah, so I learned Torah. I'm completely selfless. I'm doing only for you, Hashem. That's Torah Lishma. That's a Torah Lishma. Yeah.
It appears to me that ascetism is against our...
What?
Which word?
Asceticism?
What?
Yes.
Asceticism.
Which means?
Go on the mountain and think only of God.
Yeah.
It's not the proper thing to do.
Well, I mean, that you can't do that, 365 days a year. I mean, but once in a while, a person wants to be his bodhidut. Once in a while, he wants to have a communion with Hashem. He doesn't want to be disturbed. He wants to have, silence. He wants to have a connection to Hashem where he's by himself. Once in a while, I mean,
But that is Nishma.
it could be. It could be. It depends on what his purpose is. If it's doing for himself or he's doing it for Hashem.
No, for Hashem. I think it's doing for Hashem.
All right. So if he's doing it for Hashem, so good. Could be Ishtan too. Fine. All the mitzvahs. He brought down Torah Lishma. But applies this to every mitzvah. All the Taryag mitzvahs. What do we say? Hashem Kedeshanu b'mitzvah zav. Hashem sanctified us with His commandments. Vitzivanu, and He commanded us to do such and such. So I'm doing it because Hashem commanded. He's the commander, and I'm following what the commandments are. I'm doing it only for Him. That's Lishma. Learning Torah, of course, is one of the major ones. So he picked that out. I don't know why he didn't say the other mitzvahs too, but he picked that out as an important one, very important, because people learn Torah, and the reason they learn Torah is, as we said, as most people feel that they are really getting a big benefit from it. Yeah.
This concept that if you're not enjoying your Torah learning, then you're not doing it correctly or something?
Well, let's put it this way. We have a pasuk in Tehillim that says, if there was Hashem b'simcha, you should serve Hashem, you should save Hashem b'simcha. And in the Torah itself, there's tachas Hashem lo avaras Hashem b'simcha b'tul v'tov leivav. One of the reasons that we get punished is because we did not serve Hashem out of simcha.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That means the following. I get simcha when I'm doing Hashem's will. Not the personal simcha. I get simcha to make you happy, Hashem. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. You have a husband and wife. And men and women, they have different minds, different psychologies. And the wife wants this to be done. Then the husband in his mind says, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous what she wants. But what I'm going to do, make an argument of it? I'm not going to make a whole argument over it. It's not kedai, not worth it. It makes you happy? That's it, I'll do it. That's all. I don't agree with it. Not even going to tell her I don't agree with it. Won't even tell her, won't say a word. It makes you happy? Okay, fine. That's the kind of simcha. I'm doing it to make you happy. That's the mitzvahs also. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it. I feel good to make you happy, Hashem, but not for myself.
So should we learn the aspects of Torah that we have no interest in, that we suffer we don't enjoy at all? Is that a bigger mitzvah than learning Torah that we get enjoyment out of?
It depends. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. Because if you do something which goes against your grain, but you're doing it to make Hashem happy, that's worth a lot more than doing it when you have personal enjoyment from it. You understand what I'm saying? I'm doing it only for you, Hashem. I don't enjoy it. It's a difficult piece of Torah. It's very hard to get through it. There are lots of pieces of Torah I'm doing it for you, Hashem. And if you're happy, then I'm happy too. Even though it's difficult for me to learn it. I have to break my head. I have to go over it 1,000 times until I understand one word. But I'm doing it for you, Hashem. And that gives me simcha. That gives me simcha. Knowing that you are happy gives me simcha. It's like the man says to his wife, I want to make you happy. I don't agree with it at all, but I want to make you happy. I'll do it for you. And if you're happy, that's fine. That's great. It's great. So you have to know it's a fine thing with the simcha. You have to know exactly where the simcha is. But if it's for personal simcha, then it takes away from the lishma. Takes away from it, from the, all right. Okay, next one. Des. Limud Yud Aleph Brachos Shebirch Moshe Rabbeinu Es HaShvatim. Here you go to Zos HaBracha, the last parsha of the Torah, the brachos that Moshe Rabbeinu gave to all the Shvatim. Just read it over. Read it over. All those brachos bring positive and, I would say, sweetening effect on what's going on in the world. The brachos that Moshe Rabbeinu gave to the Shvatim. Further, it's also bracha. Excuse me?
Read over the 11 brachos
that Moshe Rabbeinu gave to the Shvatim. I imagine those are the ones he means before he died in Parshas Zos HaBracha. Okay, Yud.
When the 12 shorting.
Well, it's one, but it doesn't say each Shevet got one bracha only. I don't know. It says 11 brachas. Okay. Limud Parshas HaMerkava should be Yecheskel. That's very interesting. I mean, you have to take the Sefer Yecheskel, the Navi Yecheskel, and read the Parshas HaMerkava. It deals with the vision, the prophetic vision that Yecheskel had of what's going on in the spiritual world in the heavens. Why that makes Hamtakas Hadin, I don't know, but you can be reliant on of Chaim Valaji. He said that does it, so it does it. But you don't have to do all of these. You don't have to do all of these. I mean, as much of the list as you do, the better it is.
So what is this? Parshas. What's this again here?
Well, we're doing
10.
Parshas HaMerkava should be Cheskel. He had a vision of the chariots in heaven.
We should read over that.
If you he says that to read it, limud, to learn it, not to read it, to learn it.
Isn't that some type of Kabbalistic, very deep?
Well, it's in Tanakh. It's in Tanakh. It's in the. All right. You don't. If it's too difficult, skip it. Go to the next one. Limud Mishnayos Zerayim. Now, not everybody can do that.
Ezekiel the chariot.
Right. Lim Mishnayos Zerayim, to learn over the Mishnayos of Zerayim that's considered brachas, bikurim, all the things that have to do with agriculture. All the Mishnayos. The first set of Mishnayos, the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, the first Seder is Seder Zerayim. Learn over all the halachas of Trumas and Maisris and bikurim and all those things. And Mesechus Brachos, it's all there. Okay. Number Yud Beis. The Tzorach Limtzos Kus. Now this is something everybody has to work on. Lametz Kus al Am Yisrael. This is a very big Hamtakas Hadin. It's very difficult because we see so many things that are done wrong and such carelessness by some people. We sometimes get angry. We see people are doing things wrong and we criticize. We criticize because they're doing things wrong and it upsets us. And we verbalize our upset to other people. This is making the din worse. This is making it that we are our own demagogues by doing that. We have to find a way to find a schus, to find some way to exonerate the people, to make an excuse for them. Not to look for things which are wrong and pick on them and publicize them. On the contrary, not to talk about them at all. Always to look for positive things that we can praise and show the good side, the positive side. Like to be the optimist, not the pessimist.
Well, so we shouldn't say anything bad about leftist, secular.
No.
No.
Let me tell you something.
The scourge of the planet.
Let me tell you something. In this little story I read over Shabbos, it really touched my heart. Because I'm, a teacher for many, many years. There was a Melamed in a Talmud Torah, and all the teachers, all the children were there. There's one boy, he didn't come in after the recess, whatever it is, he didn't come back into class. So the Rebbe says to them, well, where is this Talmud? Someone said he's outside in the Chatzar. He's outside. So he said, okay, let's go out to the Chatzir, let's see what's happening. So he goes out, and all the children follow him. Want to see where this Talmud is, why he didn't come in. The Talmud there, I don't know how old he was, doesn't say, but he was playing in the Chatzir, and he had some sand. He had sand in his hands, he was playing with sand. And the Rebbe comes over to him, so to him, and with some, kind of I don't know, a very, very derogatory way, takes some sand and throws it at the Rebbe. Took some sand and threw it at the Rebbe, who came to talk to him in front of the whole class. The Rebbe said to this Talmud, I love you. Yeah? So I love you. I know you must have things which are bothering you. But you should know I love you. Even though what you did, I love you. And he went back into the class, and he told the other children not to say a word to him, and that was the end of the story. Afterwards, he came finally back into class. Years later, this Talmud came to the Rebbe, like a yeshiva bacher, dressed with a hat, and a white shirt, and his tzitzis out, and the whole thing. And he says to him, Rebbe, I'm the one that you threw out, that I was out and threw sand at you. You know why I am why I am today? I saw the way you treated me, and I said to myself, I want to be like my Rebbe. Yeah? I want to be like my Rebbe. That's an example of what we just said over here, to be melamed schus. He didn't put the kid down and yell at him, and chutzpahdik, how can you throw sand at your Rebbe, and give him a whole Muslim piece. He said to me, I love you no matter what. I understand you must have problems on your mind, whatever it is. No. And he went back into class, and everyone saw that. Wow. So he said to him, don't say a word to him. Said to the whole class, not to say a word. And look what happened. Look what happened. Because he was melamed schus. I know you must have problems on your mind. This kid turned out to be a real Ben Torah. And he said, I want to be like my Rebbe.
So, you're familiar with Rabbi Victor Miller, said
I am.
So, you're familiar with the things he said and everything about.
He was my mashgiach in yeshiva in America.
I was in this congregation and I used to listen to thousands of hours of his tapes. So how do you gee that up with what he would say with what you're just saying now?
I can't answer for him, but I would say the following. You have to understand also who Rabbi Victor Miller was. Victor Miller, first of all, is a Kohen. Did you know that he was a Kohen?
Yeah.
He was a Kohen. And we know Kohanim are very, very often makbid. They're from Shevet Levi. Kohanim are Shevet Levi. Their Midrash Hadin is very, very powerful in their makeup, in their constitution. I don't know if he would speak about individuals. Well, I don't know. Look, I can't answer him, but it's my job to be melamed schus on Rabbi Victor Miller. What can I tell you? I learned a lot from him, and he said, amazing things.
Which he would say things no one else would say.
But okay, look, it's my job to be melamed schus on him. That's all. I can say the things that I don't agree. I don't understand why he said it. That's where I leave it at that. I don't understand why he said it, but I'm not going to put him down and criticize him. Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't have to be. Yeah, okay. So, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? Yeah.
Doesn't Kabbalah say that you can't destroy evil, but we can help transform it by helping it recognize the evil that it does? We can't say that I love you and recognize, and they're going to recognize the evil.
Well, you can say you love them, but it doesn't mean you have to agree with them. I love you because who are you are. You're a Jew? Like the Rebbe is saying to this Talmud, you're a Jew? I love you. You made mistakes? You did something wrong? Okay, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But that's not going to change my love for you. I still love you.
I know I'm not even close to it.
No, okay. Okay, look.